Vancouver's. Welcome back to my series Going to the Country. Today I want to talk about coexisting with our friends, the black-tailed deer, here on Vancouver Island. Here on the west coast it's the May 24th long weekend, and of course a lot of people are thinking about planting their gardens as well as planting their flowers. In this video I'm going to talk about different types of fencing and repellents to keep the deer away from your plants. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you flowers and plants and vegetables that we found that we can plant outside of fenced areas and the deer leave alone. In 1990, when we bought our property on Gabriel Island, the deer were everywhere, and they were a real novelty back then. Our visitors from the city would be amazed to see these cute, cuddly deer wandering around our property. My gal, who was an avid flower gardener, soon discovered that the deer ate pretty much everything that she planted, and she quickly developed a love-hate relationship with the deer. Today, of course, the deer seem to be everywhere, and they're as much an urban problem as they are a country problem, and they've actually become very controversial. So let's look at different types of fencing. The key is the height. They really need to be about 6 feet high. Anything less than that and the deer can jump over that without any problem at all. What I've discovered is that they don't have to be a real sturdy fence, really just something that has the height, and that seems to be enough to keep them out. You can see here I'm using the small orchard pole, treated orchard pole that's about 2-inch diameter, and they're fairly easy to install and fairly cheap. My initial plan was old fish netting that I got from a neighbor who was redoing his fence in his farm, and that does seem to work. And it's easy to work with. It's easy to install. You can even just string this between trees, and I've seen people do that, and it will keep the deer out. I started out with the fish net, and like I said, that did seem to work, but it was rotting out, and I was getting lots of holes in it, especially near the bottom. And the rabbits, our latest nemesis, were getting through the holes into our garden. So I had to put some chicken wire at the bottom, keep the rabbits out. And when I redid this, I just went with these boards here, 1 by 2, because I had a whole bunch of them. So I just thought, well, that'll work. And again, it's just the height. As long as you have the height, it seems to keep them out. That's a pretty easy fence to put up, and it's relatively inexpensive. The key is the height. You want to go at least 6 feet. In another area, I've used these T-bar posts and 6-foot stucco wire. This is actually really easy to work with. The posts are very easy to pound into the ground. I'm sure you can get a pounder from your garden shop. And the 6-foot stucco wire is easy to work with, especially if you have a helper, and it seems to work. We've used this over the years a lot, and it's really effective. You can also buy these clips to attach the stucco wire to your T-bar posts, and it's fairly cheap, but it's effective, and it's actually, this is probably the easiest system to work with. And of course greenhouses work. A greenhouse will keep the deer out, no problem. We actually plant all our tomatoes in greenhouses now. We have a problem with the blight here on the west coast, and we don't even plant tomatoes outside anymore. We just put them right in the greenhouse. And you don't need to spend a lot of money on a greenhouse. These are fairly low tech. This is just one of those car shelters or whatever, the shelters that you can get at your hardware store, at your big box store, and covered in plastic. I have a nursery nearby where I live on the island, and every couple of years they turn over all of their plastic, and it's very inexpensive and seems to work fine for us. This is also a very low tech affair. I don't have a fan or anything hooked up. As it heats up in the spring and summer, I just lower the plastic walls enough to let a lot of air in, and not too low that the deer can get in, and it seems to work fairly well. In the beginning of our rural adventure, my gal tried everything to keep the deer away from the plants. Dog hair in a nylon stocking, animal urine, cayenne pepper. The deer ignored all of it and just kept eating their plants and flowers. Today there are commercial products that you can research online, and they say they have about a 93% success rate in keeping the deer away from the plants. You do have to apply them about every 14 days, and so depending on the size of your flower area, it could get fairly expensive as well as time consuming. The main ingredient is putrefied egg, which gives off a sulfurous smell, which mimics that of rotting meat, and the deer think that probably there's a predator nearby, so that's how they work. Of course, you can't put that on anything that you're going to eat, but you know, for your flower gardens and things like that, it's worth a try if you have a small area and you can't fence. Okay, so I hope that helps. No guarantee on the vegetables. Uh, we planted potatoes one year and they left them alone. The next year they ate the tops. I've planted the squash now for the past 2 years and they've left them alone. But my neighbor says that in his experience, they'll eat the squash. So, you know, those rascally black-tailed deer, you never know what they're going to do. Thanks for watching, and any comments down below are much appreciated. Share your ideas, share things that you've planted with success. So thanks for watching. See you next time.